Hi, thanks for joining me for this presentation. I am Meg Ormiston, and I'm excited to share with you some new things that are going on in school media centers. I am an educational consultant. I travel all over the globe, it seems like, and I get the opportunity to be in a lot of different schools, and I'm seeing some great things. And that's what I put together, some things for you. I know for many of you, it's a challenge because you're by yourself in your own building, and it's hard to do professional development. So I'm going to try to create some connections for you outside of your building. I always start every research project I do with Twitter. And I went to the library chat on Twitter. And if you're not on Twitter, I think it's time to get on Twitter and jump into the library chat. Fantastic resources, ideas, project ideas. I spent hours on the library chat just collecting and looking at resources. And the great way, if you're not on Twitter or you kind of have an account but you're not doing much on it, get into library chat. And what you're looking at on my screen is my tweet deck. My tweet deck is just library chat is one column in my tweet deck. You can have multiple columns open, but the library one I want to focus on for you. And a lot of resources that I found as I went and looked is they point back to the school library journal. And I hadn't looked at it in a long time. I went back and like, there's some great resources here. I, of course, think books when I think about a library. And they have books. Of course, they have books. But they also review all different things. And I thought as you plan and think about your budget, your projects, things like that, what a great good source. I expanded beyond my thinking, beyond books. Lots of different resources there. So pleasant surprise. Now I want to show you some trends, some new ideas, different things. Some I picked up on Twitter, some the link from this link, but one that I've had the personal experience of having a breakout EDU. And what this is that look at the kids, they're all working around a box. That's the breakout EDU box. I think current price is about $99. And on the front of the box, you can't see, there's a series of locks. And then there are puzzles and clues to unlock, I believe there's 7. And why I thought this would be fantastic for you in a media center is the situations that you try to get out of. They're real life kind of situations, and these students are trying to solve the problem, but they're all across all content areas. So it would be fantastic to have breakout EDU in your media center. You could do it repeatedly with groups because you can keep picking different challenges for them. Oh my gosh, I did it. And I did it with a team of people I'd never met. I was at a conference, and I think there were 17 of us, and the only thing, you can use any technology tool you want, but nobody can leave the room. They say they lock the door, but that sounds kind of creepy. But you can't leave the room. You can use your technology tools to solve any type of problem. We really struggled. And so we needed to use the hint cards. I think there's 3 hint cards for each of the puzzles. And there's also usually a facilitator in the room. And there's facilitator notes that also come with each of the challenges. So what I see in my thoughts is you would be the facilitator as the librarian or the media center director, and then you would give the hints as needed. The problem is it's timed. Wah! Mine was 60 minutes, and I'm like, oh, no problem. We can solve a problem. There's a whole bunch of us, and we have all the technology in the world. We took 47 minutes. It was a lot of pressure because then you're kind of expected to come out and tweet. And we made it, but it was all of us working together. In that box, there's all different tools that you basically unlock as you go. Invisible pens, and then an whatever that then you can hold it over what you wrote. It's very interesting, and I just thought might want to think about it as something new and fresh you could do with your students and teachers. Now, Common Lit's new to me. I can't figure out how long it's been around, but hundreds of fiction and nonfiction books for the grades 5 through 12. And the free part really surprised me because I know there's a ton of other resources out there, but I was surprised when I saw free. There's lessons. I thought this would save you so much time. There's lessons that are already prepared, and then you assign the text questions. And so that would be great because students would get immediate feedback on how they are progressing, which of course you know how important that is. So I thought that would be really interesting. And then the track the progress. So back again, dug deeper. It is free. I'm guessing this is my guess, and I don't know this to be true, that they are starting to grow it and it will eventually be not free. Unfortunately, you know how that happens. 100% free for students and teachers, so at least it's worth us to investigate. I love this picture. I got stuck on the picture, and then I went on to read some things. But how are libraries adapting for the future? Of course, we would all love the beautiful, beautiful furniture, the bright colors, the natural light, the cool carpeting. You might be in a facility like this, but maybe you're not. But what we have to do is, no matter where you are today, we have to be thinking about the future. And what does the library of the future look like? We have to start thinking and planning because it might be small changes that we can do. For example, I was in a school last week and they're going one-to-one. All of a sudden they had 2 computer labs, full computer labs off the media center. And all of a sudden they're going, well, every kid has a device. Do we need those computers? And let's start to think about things in a different way. They got so excited. I think one of the rooms is going to become their digital studio. And then they put the students on kind of designing that. What do we need? What are the resources? So it's beginning to think about space in a different way. And I was in a high school about 3 weeks ago, and they had just reorganized, and I couldn't believe it. She just goes, look at that space. And there was so much more. Just by reorganizing some things. So that's all about thinking outside the box, right? All right, another school told me about this. This is new to me. And they said the pricing, it is not, I try to show you everything for free, but some things have a price. This one is called Go Guardian. And what it basically does, it captures if you are in a one-to-one environment or, students have devices. You can see where every student is. Like if you imagine, look at that picture, we're looking at the students' screens. So they're working in your media center. You can glance down and see if everybody is where they're supposed to be. And then I can't quite figure this out because I have not done the live demo yet, but it basically is every student has a timeline. So it must be color coded in some way, but at any moment you can go ahead and end their session. So if you see something, you as the adult can end the session. I think there's a number of these on the market, a number of different products like this. One of my schools looked at all of them, and this was the one that they went with. That's all I'm saying. I'm not endorsing this by any means, but I thought, maybe it's something we really need. Skype in the classroom. Classic. I show this in almost every presentation because it's a great way to connect beyond the walls of your school. That's a huge thing. If you know me, you know I talk about that every day. And I think it's so important for our students to know they're global citizens. And there's no better way to do that than connect beyond the walls of the classroom. And Skype makes it easy for you. Probably the hardest part is time zones, trying to set up a time that works. That's probably the biggest challenge. But it's fantastic. Skype also offers other services too, like experts in the classroom, if you want to do that. And then there's also many, many authors that will Skype in. I Skype into classrooms all the time. I'm doing it again next week. So just a great resource. And it doesn't have to be Skype. It could be a Google Hangout or some other technology resource. This one is actually an interesting read, and I tend to love to read my fiction on my tablet, and I need paper pencil when I have to really dig in and research and organize my thinking. This is a great reading strategies book. I have this book, and I think it's just one that you need to know about and get in your professional library. It is one that any teacher at any level can pick up and find something to use. There's over 300 strategies, and they're good. They're really good. It's well organized. It's a great book. put it on the professional library shelf. Epic is new to me also, but I brought this up in a workshop this week, and people raved about it on how wonderful it is that kids answer a few questions and then they help find books for you. And it's free. So again, who knows what this model or where this model is going. And you do have to use, your school email. And then when you sign up, and then you have access to all different things, and they have some in Spanish also. So thousands. Maybe they're not the books you want to read. I'm not sure. Makerspaces, this is huge. And actually, if you do the research about a makerspace, that was the original use of a public library, is where people could come and make things and build things. I didn't know that. Somebody told me that. Where people would come and knit, and then they'd be knitting clubs and things like that. So, kind of interesting. But makerspaces are popping up everywhere. And it's not just for elementary kids. We're starting to see them at the high school level, and there are places where students can come and create. Usually they have whatever you can get your hands on, from Legos to 3D printers if you're really lucky, but kind of everything in between. Usually a lot of it's donated, but then students can come and relax. The whole concept of a makerspace is creativity, collaboration, helping to discover passions. That's the whole purpose. But every single makerspace I've ever seen is different based on what materials they had access to, with the budgets, everything. So, but be careful. There are some companies out there that will say, ooh, makerspace in a box kind of thing. I haven't seen those to be very engaging. Resources. Oh, I've meant to tell you this. All of these resources that I'm showing you are part of the resource pack that also came with this. So don't feel like you have to write down every single one. You can go back and go through them when I'm not talking. All right, this was interesting. And this website has a lot of resources. That's why I put it in here. And renovated learning. I thought we need to renovate learning. Sometimes media centers, classrooms, need a little bit of a refresh or a reboot. And that's kind of what this whole website is about. Another big thing that I'm seeing in a lot of media centers is Genius Hour. And I don't think we should be a genius on just 1 hour every other week. But I bring it up because there's a lot of kind of buzz about Genius Hour. And if we at least get started with that hour or whatever time you have, that's the problem, is your schedules are so choppy, and kids coming and going. I know it can be very, very challenging for you in your position. But maybe Genius Hour, maybe start it with an after-school club to check it out. Maybe one grade level that you can get a bigger chunk of time with. Maybe bring in 2 classes at the same time to work on Genius projects, and maybe those 2 classroom teachers could use that time to collaborate. We have to get creative. These crazy lockstep schedules are so hard for everybody. Lots of resources out there. Don't feel like you're going to start this by yourself. I love Edutopia, the publication from the George Lucas Foundation. I always find something there. Another big part of my research right now is personalized learning, personalized education, and tons of articles on that also. Need help getting started? We'll turn to Edutopia again, and we'll go ahead and help you get started. There's no problem getting resources for makerspaces or Genius Hour. They're out there. There's so much. It's like, even just looking at that live binder makes me a little anxious right there. The other thing too, there are many, many experts out there. And I really just kind of looked around in the Chicago area, and there's some really amazing people out here that are doing some things. The Show Me Librarian is really doing a lot in STEAM. Now, there's STEAM and there's STEM. I think I'm seeing a combination of everything everywhere. But I'm seeing a big trend in school media centers to move toward kind of becoming the STEAM STEM center. I'm not saying get rid of the books, don't panic anybody, but that's where we do some STEAM STEM activities, experiments, different things. And I'll tell you what, when you start to dig, there are a lot of people that are doing this. This one, the Show Me Librarian, she kept popping up. She doesn't sleep, I've decided. she kept popping up with great resources, links to different things. And she's in the Chicago area at the Skokie Public Library, and they're doing some great things. So if you're not following her on Twitter, you want to make sure that you go ahead and follow Amy. This is just her program. And trust me, there's so many more. But let's not reinvent the wheel. We do not have time. What she's giving you here is, hey, this is what I do. And she's ahead of us. So let's go ahead and celebrate that she's willing to share with us. They have something at Skokie Public Library I'd love to go visit. It's called the Boom Box. And it was a space designed around STEM. And if you can't go visit the Skokie Public Library, I included a video about it. And I'll be interested to find out if it's still going. I'm not sure, so I'm excited to find out more about that. Library Girl's very energetic on the internet, lots of resources, some amazing ones. Again, she's really looking at STEM, and it's just interesting, depending on who you talk to. Oh, it's only STEM, and most people are going STEAM, where they're adding the arts, but whatever it is. I thought this was interesting. What STEM got to do with it? About school librarians as superstars, as STEM superstars. You're already a superstar, we get that. But now you're going to become a STEM superstar. And of course, and then tie everything you do to the nonfiction texts that are lining your walls. Of course, gotta go to Pinterest. And I was shocked how many, look at this, she's over 5,000 followers on Pinterest. And I'm like, wow, there's resources like you wouldn't believe. Then I started to look for different age programs. You know, a lot of people said we have to wait till middle school and for STEAM, and no way. I was in a kindergarten class a couple weeks ago, and they were doing STEAM activities. Those little people can handle that. There's also professional groups you can join around STEM, maker spaces, genius hours, or just libraries in general. One that I found is this is a group at a public library, and they are, this is like, it seems like an after-school program for kids and teens. And it's kind of like a makerspace. That's what it seemed like to me, because as you look through their archives, the types of things they're doing, that's what it seemed like. So maybe reinvent that computer club in a different way. This group, I'm having trouble telling if they're still active, but they came together to talk about maker spaces and those kind of things. And so, again, in the Chicago area. So, Robot Test Kitchen. You'll have to contact them. Look on Twitter. You have to contact Heather and Kim to see if they are still in the kitchen making robots. All right. You, of course, have many resources. Again, as I was doing my research, STEM STEAM, in a term that I don't know if everybody's using, but pop-up programs tends to be kind of like an experiment, and that's kind of a great way to sell it to your administrators. Just say you want to try a pop-up program, like a pop-up breakout EDU or a pop-out STEM. See, it's like a pilot project. Test it. See how it works. And the American Library Association has tons of resources on that. And, whoo, that went fast. We've got a lot of resources here for you. And don't forget the resource pack where all the links are there. There's also some discussion questions. Most importantly, connect. Connect beyond the walls of your classroom. That's the most important thing. And dream. Dream. Think about what could be if we rethink what it is today. Thank you.